price tag that originally had to. In 2007, Mercedes refreshed the W211 E-Class by giving it a little bit of a styling upgrade. So this particular model here is the E550, and it has the AMG Sport Package. So if you take a look at the front here, the front bumpers look a little bit more aggressive than the standard E-Class, and it kind of has the look of the AMG, but slightly different. Part of that AMG Sport Package included 18-inch AMG wheels. Right now, as you can see, we do not have those wheels on the car because we're running our summer wheels. These are Vossen CV7s, 19-inch, staggered fitment, and we have 8.5 in front, 10s in the back, wrapped in handle tires. So if you look in here, you'll see this car has the Brembo brakes because, it's, like I said, it's part of the AMG upgrade. Walk down the side of the car. You can see the staggered fitment in the back, 10-inch wheels. Really gives the car a nice aggressive look because with the factory wheels, they look all that great. So come around to the back here, you'll notice the bumper in the back, just like the front, has the AMG styling, so it gives it a little more aggressive look. And then if you look underneath, you'll see MagnaFlow exhaust tips because we actually did a muffler delete on this car and we needed to find tips that looked factory, so we put those on there and they actually look fantastic. So
under the hood of this Mercedes-Benz E550, it features their 5.5 liter naturally aspirated V8. This V8 produces 382 horsepower and 390 foot-pounds-feet of torque.
Alright, so first thing is first, as soon as you step in this Mercedes, one thing you'll definitely know right away is everything is top-notch quality. So it's not like, you know, some of the newer Mercedes like the CLA, the GLA, you know, you get in there and you feel some plastics and stuff. Not with this car. This car has really good material, and especially for the year, and everything is holding up very, very well. Now, since this car is a 2008, you'd probably think that it wouldn't have a lot of good features in it, but it actually does, surprisingly. So some of the cool things it has, like a new car, Bluetooth phone, so you can connect your phone to that, just like any other car. It has satellite radio, navigation. I'm gonna come a little closer here and show you what's going on down here. So it has heated seats, which you know is not too special, but this button right here actually turns on the air conditioned seats. So down here on the shifter, you will find the engine start stop button. So to start the engine, all you have to do is put your foot on the brake, press that button, and it actually gives it a really cool feeling. It feels like you're in a fighter jet. And then if you come down here, you will find some buttons. This button right here controls the air suspension. So if you press it once, it'll stiffen up. If you press it twice, it'll make it a little bit more stiff. So it'll make the car handle a lot better for the back roads. And then this button right here, that's also for the air suspension. If you press that, it raises the car a few inches. That way, if you have to clear a low obstacle or anything on the ground, you can do so. One thing great about this car, being that it has the AMG Sport Package, it has the steering wheel directly from the E63, so you'll see on the back side it has paddle shifters. So if you're one of those people who like to have a lot of fun and goof around with that, it's right there. Alright, so now we are going to be taking our car for a ride and telling you guys what we think about it. Obviously it's going to be somewhat biased because if we didn't like it, we wouldn't have bought it. Yeah. So first thing first, if you've never been in a Mercedes, you will, well, should I say, if you've never driven a Mercedes, the first thing you're gonna be able to tell is that these cars are very, very heavy, especially when you're driving them on the back roads. And so that's why it's nice to have a bigger engine, so it helps.
Time for some acceleration.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it moves. Yeah, so anyways, what I was saying, it's nice to have a bigger engine because the V6 models of this car are a little bit underpowered, but for, you know, most people, that's okay. As far as the ride quality goes in this car, it has the airmatic suspension, which I am not a fan of because it's very high on maintenance.
I think Mercedes calls it the ABC suspension.
Well, they do in like the AMGs, but in this car, it's just called an airmatic suspension.
Or ABC shit.
Yeah, it's not very good. And but anyways, the suspension, when it's working, I think it's fantastic. It really soaks up all the bumps. You cannot feel nothing. It actually,
like a caddy.
yeah,
It's so smooth.
it drives like a caddy. But anyways, as you saw, this car has the Vossen wheels. They're 19-inch, so they're
still smooth.
They're bigger than factory. And believe it or not, these wheels feel identical to the 18-inch.
I mean, we're
wheels.
running, like I said, we're running 19 staggered, and we're running summer performance tires, and it's just as smooth as if it, you know, if you're running.
Actually, I think it's more smooth these tires. To be honest, I think it's more
probably
smooth.
because they're a little softer.
Yeah, I think the rubber is a little bit softer than the. We had Pirelli. What were those? They were run flats. Yeah, Pirelli run flats. And, yeah, those ride kind of hard, but yeah, the ride quality in this car, you could definitely tell you're driving something expensive because it's super smooth and luxurious. And believe it or not, most people do not like the fact that these cars are heavy, but I tend to actually do like that because it makes it
feels real planted.
Yeah, it makes you feel like the car's planted, and it feels like you're actually driving something. Because if it feels light, it would honestly feel like you're driving like a, you know, a Toyota Camry or something, you know, not quite as expensive.
Yeah. Plus this has the all-wheel drive, so that adds some weight to it, and the V8. So compared to a rear-wheel drive E350, this car's a lot heavier. Yeah,
but it's got a lot more power to make up for it.
Yeah, but one thing's nice about this, when you drive it, I mean, it's nice and stiff. It's well planted. I mean, as far as handling goes, I think compared to like newer models where they have real light electronic steering and they're real loose and just smooth, like this car, like heavy, you know, just on the highway drive, you can't beat. I mean, it's like
on the highway, super smooth. It's real easy to keep on the road. I know some cars, you know, it feels like you're swerving all over the road, but not this car. This car is really smooth. Something that I find pretty interesting about this generation, the W211, is that a lot of people say this model E-Class is one of the best that Mercedes has ever made, and to be honest, I kind of think it is. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, you know, what the heck, doesn't have as nearly as many features as a new one, but just in the way it looks and the way it feels, it's got like a classic Mercedes feel and look, and the way it drives, it's just classic Mercedes.
I mean, we're somewhat biased because we do have two of these
we have two of these,
generations
so we're going to be somewhat biased, but we've driven the new ones, all the new ones. We drove the brand new one. We actually have a review on it. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. But and we've driven a lot of other Mercedes, and a lot of people, you know, like I said, a lot of people say this generation E-Class is probably the best ever made, and they say it's the most proper looking, and I have to agree with that 100%. Not mainly, but one of the big reasons is because when you look on the hood of the car while you're driving, you see the star.
That's the best part.
I absolutely love that part about this car.
Now you can only
it reminds you, it reminds you what you're driving. So, you know, if you didn't see that star in the hood, you know, you kind of lose that feeling. It's always there as a reminder, and it's in the production plant, it's the last piece to go on the car when it's finished.
Yeah, so that means when your car's finished, that's like
that star goes on there.
Yeah, the star.
So yeah, it's just something really cool to think about. I like seeing it. I know it's not as sporty as the newer ones that have it built into the grille, but I think it's one of the best things about this car. I really do. And I know nowadays I think you can get them all like the luxury package cars, but if not, the S-Class, all the S-Classes have them, but these E-Classes all have them in the grille, and all the cheaper Mercedes all have them in the grill too.
Another thing about the W211, we have a few people that we know and we talk to that have had multiple, you know, W211 models, and then they upgraded to the 2016-15 I think it's a 212 model.
W212, yeah.
The refresh, the last refresh before they switched up to the completely new body style like an S-Class. But they upgraded to that particular model, and they actually like the W211 better.
Yeah, they actually say they
said it has more of a true like Mercedes feel to it.
Yeah, and not just that. Surprisingly, we've actually had people say their W211s had better build quality than the new ones, and I have to agree with them 100% because, like I said, you know, we've driven a lot of the new Mercedes. I'll tell you right now, the quality inside, like there's a lot more plastics and stuff. So I think Mercedes is kind of going downhill in that aspect. Another thing that's not really a big deal, but it is to me, well, to us, is that the newer ones, all the grills are plastic in the front, and like the bulb and the mesh parts,
package cars,
all plastic. On this generation, the W211 and metal, like older Mercedes from this time, it's all metal. And now it's just
little things like that.
It's the little things like that that kind of add up at the end of the day, because, you know, if you're gonna dump you know, $70,000 on a car like this, you don't want to see plastic everywhere. You want to see actual, like, you know, quality materials like metal. Like, I don't want to see plastic. I really don't. Like, most people.
Chrome?
Yeah.
Now, to give you a comparison on the build quality, we had someone that brought over a brand new E-Class to our house not too long ago. I think it had like 1,200, 1,500 miles on it.
Yeah, it was almost new.
It
looked like it was all tarnished. It looked terrible.
It looked like it was tarnished.
Yeah, it looked absolutely awful.
And
even when I polished it, it didn't come out because, like, it's just the finish is completely different. It looks like trash. Now we're going to be talking about the fun part of this car. So, in 2007, Mercedes introduced the 5.5 liter engine for this car. Has, like Nick said earlier, 382 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. Motor Trend tested this when it came out, the 4MATIC car, at a 0-60 in 4.8 seconds and a quarter mile of just over 13. I believe it was like 13.3. So, considering how heavy this car is, this thing really moves. Now, being this car is, you know, older, I don't expect it to be
with
100,000 miles. I don't expect it to be quite as fast as it once was. But nonetheless, it's not a slouch at all.
But to give you an idea how fast this was when Mercedes came out with this new engine for the refreshed W211.
Yeah.
The Audi S6 at the time with the Lamborghini, what was it, a 5.2 liter V10 in it?
That was like a 5-second 0-60, wasn't it?
It was 5 seconds. And then also
with the V10, yeah.
V10.
And this wasn't even an AMG car.
Yeah, this is not even an AMG car. And then to compare on top of that, the Maserati, the Gran Turismo in that particular year for just not the S model, but the regular one, I think it was like either 5.1 or 5.2.
Yeah, it was like actually in the 5s. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was in the 5s, but this was in the 4s.
Yeah, and this isn't even an AMG car. Yeah, the AMG, the 63, does a quarter or not a quarter mile. 0-60 is like, I think it's like 4.3 seconds. It's like in the low 4s.
As heavy as this car is, I mean, in 2008 and 2007, to have, you know, that was impressive numbers.
Yeah, but nonetheless, yeah, this car is definitely definitely hauls, but that comes with a price. So fuel economy on this thing, piss poor. Yeah, we're talking like at the very best on a highway, if you're like on cruise at like 55, 60, you'll break what, maybe if you're lucky, 23, if you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, you got usually just 60 miles an hour cruise on the whole way.
Usually it's about 21 miles per gallon on a highway, and then around town it's like what, 14.
Yeah.
So mixed driving, you're looking at about.
I'll tell you right now, we're getting 12.7.
12.7.
And all we did was go a lap around town for 8
lap
miles.
around town. We're getting 12.7, but that's the price you pay when you have a V8. And at the end of the day, I don't really care because I prefer the power. Don't really care about fuel economy. As you heard earlier in that clip, this car does not sound stock, and that is because it was way too quiet from the factory. So we woke it up by doing a muffler delete, and this car is so freaking loud.
It's like a totally new car.
Yeah, the videos don't do it justice. Honestly, it sounds fantastic. And I'm gonna put another clip in right here so you guys can hear it, so check it out. So with every car comes the dislikes. Now, even though we probably, well, I guarantee you we're gonna sound biased in this review because it's our car, we do have some dislikes. And the very first thing that we are not a fan of in this car is the 5-speed transmission, because when you're using the manual mode, the paddle shifters, they're very sluggish, especially on the downshifts. Like the downshifts are, they take like 3 seconds to downshift.
I mean, for 2008, it probably was.
I know for 2008,
probably, you know, it's no PDK or no like F1 out of a Ferrari. Yeah. But for the time in a Mercedes, you know, a luxury sedan, it probably wasn't bad. But now that the car's getting older, it's not that impressive.
But you know, other cars from that time, like a BMW and stuff, 335, we've driven those 08s. Transmissions, they shift better manually. So yeah. I'm gonna say the #1 dislike.
I mean, it's not that it's a bad transmission.
No.
When you leave it just an automatic, I mean, this is
it's a fantastic transmission. It can really hold a lot of power. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of Mercedes' most bulletproof transmissions.
It is, without a doubt.
I mean, the 7-speed they have in the follow-up models, everybody says they were
not nearly as good. They shift better, they're faster, but these 5 speeds really hold the power a lot better. And I would say another big complaint is the air suspension. We love the air suspension, the way it feels when you're driving, but the maintenance when it comes time to fix those is sinful. I'm talking to get the whole suspension replaced, because it will go out. It definitely will. Don't know when, but it's gonna go out at some point. Usually costs probably around $10,000. Just
that's for average. Yeah. Between an 8 and 10 at the dealership.
Yeah, you know, it depends on where you're located. Some dealerships probably charge more, but that air suspension, we love it, but it's gonna go out. So that's gonna be another complaint. Very expensive to maintain. So the last thing that we dislike about I'm not gonna say just about this car, but these German cars in general, is that the maintenance is a lot more expensive than, let's say, something like a, well, I'm not even gonna compare it to a Honda, because a Honda don't even require no maintenance at all. But like to an American car, the maintenance on this is very, very expensive. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not that these cars aren't reliable, because they are really reliable. It's just when it's time to fix them, you know, you better have some heavy pockets, because, you know, you're gonna be dumping money in this. Like, for example, we just had to get some maintenance done on this car, and we spent
routine maintenance. Yeah,
well, I wouldn't say it was routine. We had to change, you know, some parts, but what would it come out to? About two grand? Yeah.
We had to replace the CVT axles and boots, which is routine, and we had to do engine mounts, and I think those alone, I think, was a little over $2,000.
Yeah, you know, so they're not cheap cars to work on. So I think a lot of people, they have a misconception where they see a Mercedes for sale for like, I don't know, $15,000, and they say, wow, Mercedes for 15 grand, or a Honda Accord, I'm going for the Mercedes. But what they fail to realize is that these cars are very expensive to work on. Now, an oil change in this car is like, what, 100 bucks, 120 bucks?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
Depending on,
So an oil change alone should tell you that these cars are very expensive to work on. And like I said, when it comes time to do, you know, some other things like CV axles, you know, if there's leaks or anything, it's just gonna cost a lot more than a regular car. So if you're looking at these cars and seeing, you know, the price tag, how cheap they are, or how cheap they can be, keep in mind that just because you can afford to obtain one of these cars does not mean you can afford to maintain.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that pretty much wraps up our review here of our E550. So if you guys like the video, comment, let us know, you know, what you like about the car, what you don't like about the car. You know, just out of curiosity, we want to see what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because we have a lot more cars lined up to be doing reviews on. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Take care.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.